Welcome to our third Wonderspace journey, where for a few minutes once a week, we orbit around life-giving wonders and stories of hopefulness. In a few minutes, we will be sharing this view across Europe with Sarah Corbett, who will be answering the 6 questions that we ask all of our guests. But we start with a 1-minute wonder. And this week we zoom into the microscopic hidden world of diatoms, which are wonders of both science and art. Diatoms are organisms found in vast numbers, anywhere where there is water. They are smaller than the width of a human hair, and yet the wonder is that these organisms are vital for life on Earth. Diatoms are miracle workers by removing harmful carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and converting it into oxygen, which we all breathe. This tiny treasure is playing its part in keeping us alive, and scientists estimate that there may be 2 million different kinds of species of diatom. Another wonder is that when magnified, every single diatom is like a work of art, which leads us to the artist and biologist Klaus Kemp, who searches out diatoms and under microscope designs and creates stunning masterpieces that truly blows the fuses. Here is the work of Klaus Kemp, who is the last known practitioner in this miniature art form. Wonder is happening every day, all around us. The rhythms and the patterns of sunsets and tides and harvest moons and migrating birds, and the significance of the hidden world of cells and molecules and diatoms. The wonders of new music and art and scientific discovery, and the global movement of people reimagining economics and capital and investment that is good for the planet. Amongst the challenges, there is so much to lift our eyes and spirits at this time. This week we share this view with Sarah Corbett, and we start by asking which city or country she would like us to fly over and why. The questions are reflected in the words at the bottom of the screen.
So the city that's significant to me is London, which I've lived in for 12 years. And I just find it fascinating because it's so densely populated, so diverse in the people, in the different areas, really creative, which I love. It definitely helps me be more creative. But there's also extreme inequality that you can visibly see. I just feel like it is this melting pot of so much going on that I find fascinating from this view and motivates me, I think, in all of what I do, really. The good and the bad fuels me. So I find London fascinating. My life story so far has been a surprising one. Growing up in West Everton, which is a low-income area of Liverpool, with my dad as a vicar and my mum as a local politician, we grew up seeing that activism could work, but also where it doesn't work. And I have been an activist since I was 3 and very much believe in activism, and then ended up working in the charity sector as an activist manager, as well as doing it in my free time with different groups. And as an introvert and someone that loves creating things, I thought there was a real gap in activism, in the activism toolkit, where, I do believe that if we want to make our world a more beautiful, kind and just place, then our activism can absolutely be more beautiful, kind and just, and we're not really using those incredible colours and senses and smells and all of the stuff I learned from neuroscience about how to connect people with social change, how people change their minds, how we change laws. I felt like there was a gap in activism where craft could be an incredible tool to use the process to think more deeply and critically and mindfully, use the objects as gifts for power holders, to be critical friends rather than aggressive enemies with them, and also use the small objects we do as street art or as provocative imagery online to help people think and engage in their own way. So for me, my life journey has definitely gone in places I never expected. To be a full-time craftivist running this global collective where we use craft as a tool for gentle protest, which completely fits in with my values of treating people how you want to be treated, and trying to do activism in a really beautiful, curious, sensory, hopeful and solution-focused way. My physical place of reset is Shetland, which is where my granddad was before he passed away, and my grandmother still is. And I'm an absolute city girl growing up in an inner city area. But when I take that quite long journey to Shetland and stay with my grandmother where there's no internet and no 4G and actually not much phone signal, and it's a place where there's no trees because it's so windy, and it's a collection of islands and we're surrounded by wild mackerels, I find it an incredible place to be still, be with her, look at the views, enjoy laughing at the seals entertaining me, and just see how close nature is and how fragile it is, but also how powerful it is. The wonder in the natural world that causes my heart to miss a beat is the human brain. The more I read about neuroscience and positive psychology and the power of the senses and nonviolent communication and how people change their minds or think differently or engage with the world that we're in with all senses, the more I'm just in absolute awe of our complex brain with all its different neuro pathways and how they can change, and how we connect to everything from visuals to smell and sound. I find it fascinating how, as humans, we interact with this world and with each other, and how that impacts and shapes our brain. There's so many stories of hopefulness, of different people and organisations. It's hard to pick one. But today, I want to pick an incredible fellowship called A Million Realities. It's doing incredible work of helping change makers to change the world for the better, but not fueled by ego or individualism or status, questioning everything of what is the impact you can have, when can you control things, when can you not, how a lot of positive change in the world can actually be done in unhelpful frameworks. So how we can be stuck in the drama triangle of talking about victims and perpetrators and rescuers. It's an incredible fellowship that gets you to question the way you do everything, and whether it's rooted in sustainability and rooted in kindness and being as healthy of a change maker you can be without burning out. Even though it's very small, I think it is already having ripple effects around the world, and especially with the fellows that are on it. I think it's a game changer, actually. The piece of wisdom I'd love to share is a quote from Maya Angelou that's really shaping the work and my life in general at the moment. And it's a quote that says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And for me, I think that's really useful for my work to think about, okay, every craftivism and activism and gentle protest action I do and I tell others to do, if we immediately think about how will this possibly make people feel, because we're feeling people that think rather than thinking people that feel, I think starting from there and working backwards and crafting our activism to think about how people feel through our actions is something that we should really do much more of. And I think we forget about how people feel. So I find it incredibly useful, and I hope listeners do too.
You can read more about the work and vision of Sarah at Craftivist-collective.com. So as we prepare for re-entry, what takes your breath away? What story that is not your own renews a sense of hopefulness for you? In future Wonderspace editions, we would love to share your wonders, your stories of hopefulness. So please join us online, where you can post and share and connect with other people from around this earth. I want to thank Sarah Corbett for joining us in this virtual window seat, and I look forward to sharing this view with you again next week at the next Wonderspace. But in the meantime, I leave you with this quote.